Good morning, everybody. It is 5:45 a.m. on Thursday, March 2nd, 2023. Oh, I can't believe we're already in March. It's absolutely crazy to me. But anyway, all right. Another Ask Me Anything kicking off here. I've got all the questions pulled up, got my answers pulled up. Good to go, good stuff happening. And so we'll just go ahead and dive right in. And thank goodness that it's a rest day. Thank goodness. Been a heck of a week already. All right. Number one, most upvoted question is from Jennifer F. It says, have you ever considered adding a weekly or bi-monthly member interview podcast? I think it would be cool to get to know people better through something like that. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Yes, I've done some of those in the past for sure. Love the idea and love interviewing people. The only potential issue is work, children, and other things make schedules unpredictable. While usually this Ask Me Anything happens somewhat regularly at 5:45 a.m. every Thursday, we do drift from that every now and then Tuesdays when we do an Instagram Live, which is probably when that would make a lot of sense to do that because the Ask Me Anything would continue on Thursdays. And that Tuesday's video is never at the same time on any particular Tuesday because life, and kids, and running things around, and things change, and all that stuff. So it makes a hardcore schedule with somebody else challenging. Not impossible, but challenging. What I think might be really fun, cool, and interesting and serve the purpose really well is to get like a set of questions, like relatively standard questions, then maybe one free-for-all question at the end there to get to know people, like a format, if you will, that would take, sub 5 minutes, a nice short, tight video. And you could have those set of questions with some basic instructions in case somebody hasn't, done a lot of interviewing or filming before or filming themselves, as to how to frame it, lighting, audio, file size, things like that. And then those files could just be emailed to me, and we could start like a playlist on the CrossFit Linchpin YouTube channel of all these member interviews and getting to know everybody, and that's really cool. And so, Jen, I'm not sure if you would like to spearhead and champion this cause, but if so, more than welcome to. Just shoot me an email at info@crossfitlinchpin.com and you and I can chat, and maybe you can run with it. It'd be really cool. You know what is not entirely dissimilar to that, which we'd already been doing, is the garage gym tours. That was a lot of fun. Maybe I should put that word out again, that if you're a member of the Linchpin community anywhere around the world, working out in your apartment, in your home, in your garage, in your backyard, in your fire department, in your whatever, if you go to the CrossFit Linchpin YouTube channel, there's a playlist entitled Garage Gym Tours. I think we've got, 50 or 60 videos on there from when I asked people for them. And people shot 5 to 10 minute videos walking around their space, chatting about things. And so it was actually a really cool way to get to know the individual and get to see the space in which they work out, which was awesome. And I should probably just bring that back or highlight that again and send out more requests for that. So maybe we could do that. Check out the Linchpin YouTube channel, go to the playlist for Garage Gym Tours, watch a few, get that idea as to what the general vibe is, and then film one if you want of wherever it is that you work out. It's really cool to see that. And then just send me that YouTube link at info@crossfitlinchpin.com, and I'll post it there for everybody to see. And people really enjoyed those as well, not to just get to know members of the community, but also to see everybody's space. Everyone's always fascinated to see other people's space, the gear that they work out with, how do they organize their space, and it kind of gave other people ideas and all that. So that's really cool as well. So please feel free to film your space and send it my way, and we'll put it on the channel. It should be pretty awesome. Okay, next most upvoted one from Colin J. Here we go. Will there ever be a quote-unquote fireside chat with Pat where you just sit and tell us humorous stories for an hour? I would tune in every time. Appreciate that. I'm not sure if there'll be a dedicated fireside chat, so to speak. What there probably will be is just random nonsense and random humorous things sprinkled into content like this, sprinkled into the AMAs or sprinkled into the Tuesday Instagram lives and things like that. It's probably be, random smatterings from here and there. Next most upvoted from Joshua J. Joshua, where are you, sir? Here we go. Okay. Coach, you often program bear hug holds with a D-ball or sandbag in the accessory work, which is of course optional, as we all know. Can you describe the benefits of this? Everybody knows that I love the L-sit. So is the bear hug like my second favorite? L-sits are fantastic. I mean, who's kidding who? So be it the L-sit or a sandbag D-ball hold in the front. And by the way, it always cracks me up when I see members of the Linchpin community all around the world getting creative with that, because maybe you don't have a sandbag or you don't have a D-ball or something like that to bear hug for the optional accessory work. I've seen people holding bags of fertilizer, random stuff that they found around the house, toddlers. I've seen many a person just hold a 50 to 70 pound child in front of them and just get in their midline work that way. So I do appreciate the creativity. It's pretty cool. And so midline stabilization, strengthening, and development, yes, that's certainly why we're going to do the bear hug hold and something like that. The L-sit is phenomenal. You're going to work all of your abdominals. You're going to work your hip flexors. You're going to work your quads, specifically because of the position in which you need to hold your legs out there at a 90-degree angle. Then for the bear hugs, still going to be hitting the abdominals for sure, but a really great part about the bear hug is, since you have the object out there in front, is how much you're stressing everything on the backside, on the posterior chain. So all that sandbag wants to do is fold over your upper body. And so in order to resist your upper body folding over, you're not only fully braced in the midline with those abdominals, but on the posterior side of the midline as well. Your entire spinal erectors column and your glutes, to keep your legs locked out and your torso upright, is going to be fired up and engaged. So the actual posterior side gets one heck of a workout on the bear hug hold, and that's just really a cool complement to what we do with a lot of the other midline work as well. And of course, there's also the wonderful issue of making it very difficult to breathe. So that's also a benefit right there as well. All right. Next most upvoted question, let's see, from Justin C. Okay, where are you here? All right, here we go. Justin C. Given your recent Linchpin conversation number 343, wow, 343, every now and then that number hits me, and other comments about keeping things simple, I want to get your thoughts on what to do, if anything, about weaknesses. I'm about 100 workouts in, but I do have some solid feedback on BTWB, just not sure what to do with the information. If my goal is to be more balanced overall, do I need to tamper with the programming, for example, add in more speed and endurance work over power lifts and heavy days, or just stay in my lane, continue to follow what is prescribed, and trust that things will balance out over time? Great question. So, long story short, for most people, most of the time, under most circumstances, staying the course, as long as you're doing intelligent programming, let me go ahead and say that, and you're not cherry picking and biasing and avoiding things, if you're doing good stuff, you should be hitting what you need to hit. It will get the attention that it deserves. Stay the course. Wonderful things will happen. That's the short answer, but let's dive into a bit of a longer answer. So, said you're about 100 workouts in. So if we think 100 workouts at 5 workouts a week, that's about 20 weeks. It's about 5 months. It's a great period of time, by the way. So about 5 months in. And 5 months is a nice amount of time. I would say 6 months would be a beautiful little deal, because around the 6-month mark, you might start to see workouts beginning to repeat again. And that's a really great place to be, because that's when you can actually see, from what you just mentioned, is progress being made. That's the beauty of those repeat workouts. So when the repeat workouts start to keep popping up, You just want to make sure that you are also looking at a good variety of repeat workouts. If you're only looking at Grace, Isabel, and DT, those might be repeat workouts, but they're all somewhat similar from ground to overhead with barbells of various loadings and various rep schemes, but you're not getting a good smattering there. So when repeat workouts do start to come up, you want to make sure that you are seeing nice, steady, consistent progress, and you should start to see squat, deadlift, clean and jerk, just pure heavy days come back up again of the exact same rep scheme. And so then you can check for that progress, because maybe it was a 7x1, next time a 5x5 back squat comes up, fantastic, both back squats, but you need the exact same rep scheme to come back up again to see what's happening right there. So you could do that with the pure heavy days, and if you're 5 to 6 months in, that's great, because it's going to start happening. Body weight bonanzas, look to things like Cindy, Angie, Barbara, things of that nature. For pure conditioning sort of things, you're going to start to see popping up again 10 by 100 meter sprints, 8 by 200 meter repeats, 6 by 400, 3 by 800, 1 mile repeats, 5K runs, rowing, biking, all that kind of a good stuff. And you're going to really start to be able to see what's happening right there. Now, like I said before, with intelligently structured program that doesn't have a strength, endurance, or gymnastic bias, it actually gives respect to all those different areas, the respect that they deserve. You should see nice gradual improvement in these areas. So you don't want to have a bias in any of those areas. If you want to have a fitness bias, because fitness encompasses all of those aspects, and that's exactly what we have going on. Now, as I've said before, there's what you want and there's what you need. Now, if you're following something that is laid out appropriately, for most people, again, most of the time, you're not going to need anything else. You just need patience, quite frankly. Good sleep and a good diet. But you might want a little something else, even though you don't need it. That's okay. And so let's have an honest conversation about that. It just depends upon where you've come and the level of patience that you possess. So let's just say you're a former power lifter, okay? Because you mentioned in your thing, should I add in a bit more speed or endurance work? So that makes me think maybe you're coming from a very dedicated, purely strength background. So maybe you're a former power lifter, high-level power lifter. You got a 600-pound deadlift. That's no joke. You got a 500-pound back squat. You got a 350-pound bench press. But you can't run around the block without getting winded. And that's not a slight or a snarky remark right there. It's just, it is what it is. Well, and based upon that, you're self-aware, and you're like, that really truly is not just my bias about what I think my weakness is. That really is something I'm woefully inadequate with compared to some other things. I'm very lopsided as an athlete. I want to get in a little bit extra running, a little bit extra rowing or biking to really help that conditioning a bit because of my previous background of just being all in on the heavy weights as a lifelong powerlifter. Cool. No worries at all. Absolutely authorized to do that. Good to go. You want to get out and head out for a couple runs, a couple times a week, or one longer run, one kind of a track day. I don't have any drama with that in any way, shape, or form. Will those things improve by just doing what you need to do, eating a clean diet, getting good sleep, and following along with the program? Absolutely. But there's nothing wrong with if you enjoy it and want to touch those a bit more frequently. And in doing so, you're very honest with yourself to make sure that you don't get overtrained, that it's not too much for your body. Totally good to go. Totally good to go. And it might be the same with if you did a really honest assessment of yourself and you're like, man, my upper body pulling, if I had better upper body pulling, the sun would come out and things would be amazing. I've got to get more strict pull-ups because, and once again, that strict upper body pulling strength, it's going to help everything that I do, from kipping pull-ups to rope climbs to muscle-ups to even things like knees to elbows that have a tremendous amount of lat engagement in there, things of that nature. And you want a couple times a week, touch some extra pull-ups, totally good to go. Will your pull-ups improve by just doing everything that we're doing? Yes. But again, to each their own. So totally good to go. Hopefully that helps. Okay, next most upvoted. Oh, this is a good one. This is a hot button topic. This is from Daniel R. This is from the BTWB Squads feature about rebounding box jumps. Do you think that box jumps with rebound can hurt in the long run, or are they harmless or even beneficial? Thank you. Great question. You know, well, here's the shortest answer. Take this for whatever it's worth. I don't do rebounding box jumps. I did them for years and years. I am now, I started doing CrossFit in 2005, so I'm 17 or 18 years into doing CrossFit. I would say that I did rebounding box jumps out of those 17 and 18 years, definitely for the majority of the time. At least a solid decade, if not 12 years or more. Anytime box jumps would come up, they would be rebounding. Never had a single problem. All of my friends that I worked out with for those decade or more never had a single issue as well. But for the last handful of years, I have not. I've put those on the shelf, if you will, and I jump up in the box and I step down. My wife does the same thing. We're both in our 40s. Is that necessary or not? Is it some sort of paranoia or not? And to be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure. I know a very, 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 put 10 more verys on that sentence, small number of people that have blown out their Achilles or something like that doing a rebounding box jump. It's most certainly happened, like beyond a shadow of a doubt, and it's happened very publicly every now and then. And I think when something happens very publicly, that messes up the actual statistical probability of something happening. Like, for example, I was at regionals however many years ago, and Julie Fouché blew out her Achilles, and everybody saw it, and that was like, a gasp sort of a moment, understandably so. Hugely well-known and respected athlete, all the cameras on her, and that happens. It terrified a lot of people to never, do that again. Was that response to that incident necessary? I honestly don't know, to be quite honest with you. All I can tell you is, does rebounding have benefit? It absolutely does. Do I know that most people at some cycle in their fitness journey start off with rebounding and then gradually, most people, I shouldn't say everyone, but most people kind of phase it out and jump up and step down? That does seem to be a relatively common trajectory for a lot of people. So it is what it is. Now that's for us recreational athletes just looking to live a long, healthy life, increase work capacity, be fit, be healthy, be injury-free, be pain-free, and all that good stuff. Competitive athletes, if there's box jumps in a competition, you're most likely not going to win stepping down. It is what it is. But competitive athletes are a different group of individuals, different needs, that expose themselves to different stressors that most of us would not, because they're trying to win competitions. So for most of us, jumping up and stepping down is good to go. But like I said, the truth be told, I know very, 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 very few people that have had that happen to them. But when it does, it's so jarring that it kind of reframes a lot of people's thoughts on the topic. So hopefully that helps. Okay, final most upvoted one. This is a good one. This is from Mike. It says, question about dealing with aches and pains outside of the usual ones in order to prevent injury and sustain training long term. How do you recommend altering your workout plans when a certain area or joint starts to bark a little bit? What approach has worked for you? Great question. We've done a couple podcasts on this specifically, like working out with an injury and whatnot. I can't remember it exactly off the top of my head, but they're out there. We also did a very not random, myself and Adrian Bosman, we did one as well. So make sure you check that out. But I would say, overly simplified it doesn't need to be really complicated. If you've got, a grouchy shoulder and there is pull-ups in the program that day, well, just don't do them. I know that sounds way too simple, right? But let's stick with that for a second. You've got maybe you've got pull-ups and push press in there. So you're supposed to be upper body pulling and you're supposed to be pressing overhead, and you've got a grouchy shoulder. And you've got running and sit-ups in there as well. Well, you can still do the run. You go out, you do the run. You can probably still do the sit-ups. You do the sit-ups. Okay, well now what happens when the pull-ups come around? Let's say it's your left shoulder's hurting you. Don't worry about it. Don't use your left arm at all. Take your right arm, and for the pull-ups, you're going to do a single arm dumbbell row, and you'll get pulling in on one side, and you'll do however many reps are supposed to be per round. You'll do that with the appropriate weight dumbbell or kettlebell or heavy object like that, and get in a good upper body row. And then where the push press should have been, again, you'll just do a single arm push press with a dumbbell or a kettlebell on that one good side, and you'll be good to go. And you'll just make modifications like that. I mean, quite frankly, you've got a bad knee, a bum, a bad knee, a bad hip on one side, and there's air squats in the workout of the day. Then you're going to do, one-legged squats or pistols or something like that. And what you're going to do is hold a very sturdy upright of, find some sort of door frame, and then you're just going to, with that upper body assistance, get some squatting in on one leg, and you'll be good to go. And you can kind of play that game for whatever it is that you happen to have going on for as long as you need to make appropriate decisions. But give it the time that it needs to actually truly rest. And in everything that I've experienced, the myth that people are potentially concerned about is, well, what happens if for a couple weeks that shoulder is just grouchy, and so over the course of a couple weeks I'm just working this one arm, doing one arm kettlebell swings, one arm push press, one arm bent over rows. At the end of 2 weeks, my arm that I've been continuing to work is going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the other arm is going to be this shriveled little pipe cleaner. That, I would say, is a myth that does not work out in reality. In reality, you will be absolutely fine. Everyone that has done this, you don't see them walking around with one side of their body profoundly muscular and the other just shriveled away. It doesn't work out that way. And as a matter of fact, there's a fair amount of data, research, and belief to think that even continuing to work that one side has beneficial effects for the other side, even though you're not working it, as odd as that is. But the body is one piece, and so we will just continue to work it to the best of our ability and make some smart decisions and not continue to aggravate something that needs a bit of rest. CrossFitters can be crazy, and they can think because they modified something or neglected something a little bit that now that is a wasted workout or a bad workout and I didn't really move the needle forward. Get that thought out of your head. Make a smart decision, do what you need to do, don't aggravate something that's bothering you, and live to train another day. That's going to serve you so much better in the long run than trying to be any particular hero and pushing through something unnecessarily. So hopefully that helps. Okay, excellent questions. I will say we'll chat about the Test 7, the Linchpin March monthly challenge, and then we'll give one cool little linchpin shout out right now. So every month, if you're unfamiliar, we're doing a linchpin test. There's 14 linchpin tests. Can't believe it, we're about to be halfway through. And so March is going to be Test 7. Test 7 is a beast. I think people are really going to like it because it involves everybody's favorite deal, a heavy barbell. Linchpin Test 7 is very simple. Didn't say it was easy. 205 pounds on the bar for men. Yikes. 145 pounds on the bar for women. Yikes. 4 rounds for time of 4 power cleans, 4 front squats, 4 shouldered overhead. Yep. 4 power cleans, 4 front squats, 4 shouldered overhead. 4 rounds. Short, sharp, nasty. And of course there'll be scaled options, there'll be wildcard options, there'll be a dumbbell option, all that stuff. And I'm working with somebody to create a pretty cool and unique shirt for that. So we'll see what happens. It'll probably be third weekend of the month or something. I'll keep everybody posted on that, but it's coming, just so you know. And then finally, here's a really cool note that just got posted in the private Facebook group yesterday from a new member, from Joey M. So here, I'll read this. Now that my 30-day trial is coming to an end, the time seems right to properly introduce myself to this group. I'm a 35-year-old from northern New Brunswick, Canada. I have 2 sons, 3 and 6, and a daughter. I'm a pharmacist. I was introduced to CrossFit back in 2014 at a local gym that has now been closed for years. I've been training in my garage. Eventually I'll share some pictures since 2016. I've followed online CrossFit programs for years and was focused primarily on performance and competing, even though I never had any interest in competing. I've had trouble with my back after doing too much for too long and ended up gradually putting CrossFit aside and replacing it with running. I hear that all the time, unnecessarily training like a competitor. So here's what I like about this program and community so far. No strength bias. We have a fitness bias. We prioritize lifting, running, or conditioning I should say, and body weight movements. We give them the respect that they deserve. The respect the heavy days once a week is brilliant and much better suited for the long term in my opinion. The choice of options for each workout, from the wild card, dumbbell, etc. The encouragement to scale workouts. Incorporating not for time workouts, and it's no big deal. And the same for coach's recommendation to go easier in the intensity once or twice a week, not always going full send, so it's actually sustainable. How involved Pat is in the program. The programming itself for GPP is exceptional. The program is dedicated for real people with busy lives. Awesome accessory work that's always available, but no pressure to do it. And a program that actually includes sprints and some real running, not just 400-meter runs crammed into a workout. So, really cool. And then he included a really awesome photo of him after a workout in the garage with his daughter. And his daughter had put a medal around his neck because she thought that he did such a great job in the workout. How awesome is that? So that's that. I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Thanks for being awesome, Linchpin, all around the world. We'll keep doing what we do, and it's Thursday. I'm so happy that it's a rest day. I hope that you are as well, and we'll talk later.